Hello, hello. This is Christina Barton. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello, welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about this continuation of this interview that Trump had with Braier, and he talked quite a bit about Ron DeSantis, and I thought the commentary was interesting, and they're about certain things that we've discussed, so I want to dive into that. Also, something pretty exciting on Twitter happened yesterday, at least it's exciting to me. Elon Musk weighed in to the whole cisgender thing, and he said that if you repeatedly like harass someone with that word or something, calling them cis, they're gonna consider it to be harassment, and they're gonna suspend people. So cis is not a slur was trending today on Twitter, and if you follow me at all, maybe you've seen my article pop up or be posted or talk about it online, other places, that I wrote an article about why cis is a slur. So I'm excited that it's upsetting some people today, to be frank. The right kind of people, I guess. Yes, I consider cis to be a slur, and we can go into a bit why, but I did write an article about it, and you guys can, check that out the website. But folks are upset about it, and they're like, where's the free speech? But I think it's mostly really about the harassment of how people are using the word and stuff. But at least how Elon is talking about the application of the enforcement, I suppose. But yes, I consider cis to be a slur for reasons that we will get into. Also, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, the Michigan Health Department did a study, or an investigation rather, about air pollutants coming from like a water plant factory and a paper mill. And apparently the air is very bad. And nobody's really talking about. My sister sent the article to me, and it was the first I heard of it, and she attacked someone else who's deep into Michigan politics, and she hadn't heard of it. But I mean, M Live is reporting on it, so hopefully it'll get some more traction. And it's funny, not funny, but it's what a coincidence, because the other person she tagged was like, I'm in Kalamazoo right now. And they did like a little face like, what the heck, a little emoji. So we'll be talking about those things today. If I have time, I like to get to the story about Brie Larson and Samuel Jackson. I don't know if I'll get to it within an hour, but we'll see if we'll go a little bit over. But to give you a little teaser, whether we get to it today or not, Samuel L. Jackson says that election of President Donald Trump broke the Marvel's actress Brie Larson. So, which Trump broke a lot of people, but even bringing this up and bringing up some other things about Brie Larson in this article isn't going to make her any more likable. And there's a lot of fans who aren't a fan, who are comic book fans for various reasons, but I would just keep a lot of this political stuff to themselves. But I don't know why they're so keen on talking about it. Like you have Donnie, is it Donnie Wahlberg? One of the Mark Wahlberg is just like, shut up. Like, no one wants to hear your opinions about politics. Like, you're there to act, you're there to do this or whatever. And I only see like I see Mark only on Fox News when he's in a commercial promoting, stuff to help veterans. That's the only time you don't really see him talking about politics. I mean, he took his family from California because it was, an awful place, but like a lot of families have done. Um, but just stay out of it. It's better for your overall business. And then he's talking about stuff, conversations or however she felt and expressing it. And it's one thing if she's like, yeah, it broke me, but he's like telling people, yeah, it broke her. I don't feel like that's really his place. But anyway, I don't know if we'll get to the story. If we don't, we'll table it for tomorrow, but I'd like to talk about it. Bounding into Comics reported on it. But before we jump into everything, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, videos, etc. Please make sure that you check out I saw that Riley Gaines was trending on Twitter because of a she gave a not a speech but a testimony about some of the things that she went through competing against Leah Thomas. And I do have a interview with Riley Gaines on my main YouTube channel. If you're watching today from my YouTube channel, it's on my backup YouTube channel, I have a main YouTube channel. And you're like, well, why aren't you streaming from that channel? Because some of my pro-life content upset YouTube. So I got, I can't post anything until Monday on that account. But on that main account, Black Tea News, you'll be able to find my interview with Riley Gaines. So please go ahead and check that out, and check out other stuff. Please make sure that you are following me across different social media platforms, that you guys drop in your email on the website so you know what kinds of things are going on. Check out different merch that we have at the store, like the Be Better Not Bitter shirt, which I really love. The I'm Not the Victim You're Looking For, and all kinds of goodies that you guys get at the website. Check out different books and stuff that I have as well. And if you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at the website because it costs to stream and all that good stuff. I don't think I said that yet, but I got to say it because if you have not, you ask not. That's what the Bible says. So throwing out my ask. If you can support, please do it in that kind of way. As I said, like on my main account, can't do anything for a week. So the streams or whatever that I would usually get throughout the week, not going to be there. So if you want to help and also, YouTube won't take that cut, and go right to the website and support in that kind of way. I don't have a new meme, but I remembered that I did not share this clip the other day of Kamala Harris, and I meant to. I had tabled it because I wanted to move the Juneteenth discussion, but she just started laughing when they had their event, and it was weird. And then someone replied to this in the comments. So I'm going to show her just initial kind of laughing, and then what people continue to make her fun of her with a pretty accurate gif.
Happy Juneteenth. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. And to my Divine Nine family. Good evening, everyone.
She's so awkward and weird and not a great speaker. She was, I guess, fine for the Dems when she could just burst out in the scene in the Senate hearings and ask a question or two, which she was always insufferable to me. She was like my least favorite person out of everyone who was running in 2020. But her laugh, and I love, it seems like they don't really like her and they just want to trot her out on special occasions. So of course it's Juneteenth, so she's got to come. They want her to speak as a woman with a when it was the anniversary of like Roe v. Wade or something, and that was when she was like mentioned liberty and the pursuit of happiness, but she just skipped over life because life was just way too inconvenient for her. But anyway, someone decided to post this in the thread where I saw that video.
What, you think that's funny?
sorry. I have a.
I was looking at the card because I didn't know if they had changed it from the film. That's from the Joker film. They made it so he had a mental condition or whatever, so he just spontaneously burst into laughter and he couldn't help it, and he laughed in a way and at times that disturb people. So I thought that was a great, little mashup there. Shout out to people in the chat watching and those who will watch it back live later. Um, I know I'm like streaming in different places where I normally stream, and again, I'm not streaming on my YouTube channel, which is usually the biggest place that I stream live. I am streaming on my backup, but um my main account I'm not able to stream from obviously because I got censored because of my pro-life content. If you don't know, if you didn't hear, apparently YouTube is censoring pro-life content similar to when they censored content during the pandemic. They're like, if you go say something against who, then we're going to take your stuff down. So they took one of my videos down. They did not tell me what was said in the video that they felt violated their terms of their agreement. I appealed it. They still said you violated it. So I lost the appeal, and they did not go into detail. So big tech. I told it was an interview I had with Deborah Tilden. I did put the interview on Rumble, so if you haven't seen it, you can go ahead and watch it there. If you watch it on Facebook or haven't watched it at all, it is also on Facebook as well, so you guys can see it there. But we had a great interview. People said it was a great discussion, and I think it's shameful that it's no longer on YouTube, and it's a shame that people aren't allowed to hear all sides of the argument. And obviously there's some big money in the abortion lobby. I mentioned the words abortion lobby last week, and someone like had like laughing faces or something under my comment. I'm like, do you guys not think there's an abortion lobby? Like, are you kidding me? Do you know how much money they spend? So anyway, we will not be silenced. We will, continue to speak on these particular topics. Anyway, Elon Musk. So he decided to weigh in the whole cisgender situation. Now, someone who is very vocal about what's going on as far as in clinics and how kids and other people are treated, had tweeted out something that they didn't take too kindly to on Twitter. And so Elon Musk ended up, weighing in. So you see here, he talked about yesterday after posting a tweet saying that I reject the word cis and don't wish to be called it. I received a slew of messages from trans activists calling me sissy and telling me that I am cis, whether I like it or not. Just imagine if the roles were reversed. So I don't know if you already read Elon's response, but I just, before we get to that portion, I just want to say it is interesting. It is funny, and not in haha kind of way, maybe in a Kamala Harris Joker kind of haha way, like in a sinister, sick world, inappropriate laugh. These people will be so upset if you don't use the proper pronoun, and they'll say that it is harmful and it's violence because you could cause someone to want to off themselves. They'll say you don't think I exist, and I'm like, why would I be having a conversation with you if I didn't think you existed? It's very strange, but they're very upset if you will not respect their pronoun. And I've been in conversations with you know, different trans people and activists and stuff. And one I was on live on TikTok and somebody just started calling me a dog. And I just kind of, well, I my face was on there just to myself, just kind of rolling my eyes like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna let you calling me a dog trigger me, but you think me calling, and this person, they were a Satanist who got kicked off from Gays Against Groomers, and I guess for being a Satanist, and they also like were in some kind of house that had kind of some kind of association with inappropriate sort of things, but I don't know if they could know of that or knew that at the time or whatever that happened, but that they are Satanists. So um Gays Against Groomers kind of like kicked them out or whatever. But I didn't know all that about them when we were on a live together. I just kind of joined a group thing, and then that person came in. But that person was a trans woman, and they were upset because there was a trans man on that me and a group of other people were talking about too, and because we were all like, referring to that person as a woman, that person was so angry at me or whatever, and just decided to, I don't know, call me a dog repeatedly, and was talking about how ignorant and other things I am. I'm like, you can't just say that I'm ignorant and not have a good valid reason. I mean, you can just keep repeating that, but they just continue to keep repeating that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And there are other times when someone might call me sir, which I think is kind of funny because my sister, particularly my sister right underneath me, Sabrina, she just likes to call everyone sir. She literally just calls everyone sir. I don't know why it started. It's a more recent phenomenon, like in this year. It hasn't been a whole life situation. But she just calls everyone sir. So when people started calling me sir, because I won't, use a trans woman's like preferred pronouns or something, and they'll call me sir to kind of like push back to see how I like it. I just kind of laugh at it. And so I told my sister about it, and she was like, I was preparing you for your haters. And so she was all like, pat herself on the back, very excited. But yeah, I'm sure there's reasons to have it upset a lot of other people, but it's kind of like, whatever. I know what you're doing. I'm not going to let you upset me in that sort of manner. And I've been and then some people say things like, well, Dylan, it looks like a real woman. You don't look like a woman. I'm like, that I'm okay. That's not true. And even if you think it's true, um, we all have different eyes and perspectives and perceptions, I guess. It still doesn't make him a woman and doesn't make me less of a woman for you saying that. So that's usually the route that I go. If you don't think I'm attractive, I don't care. Either I'm gonna marry one person or I'm going to be single the rest of my life. So I don't care if a random person finds me not attractive. You got nothing to do with my future. So why should I care? Um so they'll say all these things to try to get under your skin. I have been like legitimately misgendered in real life. One time I went to my local Qdoba and it was winter, and I just wanted to go out real quick to pick up my food or whatever. I wasn't dressed real cute or whatever. It was like but really bummy, and I had a hat on, a big coat. So it was really quick. They called me sir, and then they looked up and realized that I was a woman, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." It's okay. There was like a little part of me that was like, oh man, how rough am I looking? And then I was like, you probably look pretty rough, Christina. Like you're the one who went outside looking kind of busted. That's on you. To like, don't, it's not their fault or whatever. And I just kind of got over it. Someone made a great case about like people getting upset about being misgender, and they're like, if you don't fool people, like it's, and they don't look at you and see that you're a woman, that's because you're like failing to kind of present that image that you want to present. But anyway, they'll get really upset if you don't use their pronouns or whatever. But they're like, oh, you're just a terrible person, or you're homophobic, or you're transphobic, and you hate non-binary people and all this other stuff if you won't accept cis or whatever. So this person got a barrage of sissy and cis or whatever nonstop. So Elon said repeated targeted harassment against any account will cause harassing accounts to receive at a minimum temporary suspensions. The words cis or cisgender are considered slurs on this platform. And so people are upset and saying it's not a slur. And obviously in the scenario, people are are saying it and using it as a slur. They're using it as a negative connotation toward this man. He doesn't want to be called it, and they are doing it in a harassing sort of manner. Now, I guess using it in a it's clear harassment. They are clearly trying to harass him in the scenario that is being explained. Um, does that mean, that it's a slur just because people are repeating something over and over again? I don't think me calling, Dylan a man is a slur, because it's just the truth. But but with the word cisgender, people say, well, it's in the dictionary. Like I replied to a TikTok or whatever that said that. And so, yeah, and so is the N word. But do you have that sort of authority to say that to me and to my face? And if you say that, you know, why are you saying it? Is it in a negative sense to demean me? Are you um because we're not cool where you can just say that because we're so down with each other. That's not what it is. So, and I wrote an article, and that's kind of like the last kind of point of it. Like, yeah, cisgender, that's a word that you guys have made and you're using, and um just because it's somewhere doesn't mean that that's a word that you should use. So my argument for it being a slur, and I was so happy to be able to share this article around, because I go on TikTok and other places all the time, and they talk about cisgender is not a slur. Why you guys pretending to be offended? I love how they said, like, why you're pretending to be offended by this word. So I'll give you an example, because I have my article pulled up, and I did a screenshot of a TikTok where they're literally are saying, why do you pretend to be offended by the term cisgender? So that's him. That's Addison. So it's Addison's account. People are jumped on. I don't know where everyone on, like, these other profiles stand on this issue, though. That black guy at the top, he's a lefty. I've seen him before in a lot of chats, a lot of lives. Actually, we've talked before about debated about pro-life stuff. He was pretty, at least, respectful in our conversation. I mean, I felt like I took that, and I offered. I think we went to the route of, like, why does it matter? Why does it affect you? Like, which a lot of people go with that route. And I started listing things. I'm like, well, one, they make you, they want to appeal the Hyde Amendment, so your taxpayer dollars are going to it. And I said, and people use our taxpayer dollars to fund, like, experiments, like humanized mice experiments, like the government purchased fresh and fetal remains for stuff. So if people are doing weird stuff with baby fetuses with our government money, like, does that not concern you? Maybe it doesn't concern you, but it does involve your money. So if it's that kind of stuff is involved in your money, you can't say it's not your business. And so he's like, oh, I'll have to look into that. So anyway, occasionally while scrolling through TikTok, I'll come across lives of leftists insisting cis isn't a slur and women are only pretending to be offended by the term cisgender. I assure you, it is a slur, and many women find the term offensive. If you're a normal person who hasn't been exposed to all of this madness, you might be wondering what cisgender even means. Simply put, it means your identity as your assigned gender or biological sex. Um, Simply put, it means I think I read that right. It means you identify as your assigned gender or biological sex. Now, what exactly is wrong with using that term for identification purposes? I can't speak for all women, but I will tell you that cisgender is demeaning. It's demeaning because it diminishes women. It diminishes women because cisgender is a sledgehammer used to bust up the firm foundation of what a woman is and erect a flag that says trans women are women. And that's just not true. So it doesn't matter what you call yourself, what you wear, how you do your hair and makeup, what drugs you take, or how much a surgeon carves your body. A man will always be a man. Trans women are chasing a pot of gold at the end of a never ending rainbow. Trans activists will push back and say things like, oh, you want to reduce a woman down to her genitals or her biology. What is the alternative? Should we reduce women down to a mood ring? Despite what Macy Gray was bullied into saying, womanhood is not a vibe. And so I'm not going to go ahead and play that um for time purposes, but how long is it? Yeah, it's 3 minutes long. I'm not going to play it, but Macy Gray had said on Piers Morgan's show that, I don't care what people say, you're born a man, you're a man, or whatever. And then Macy Gray got, attacked online a lot. So she came on the Today Show and was basically put through a a session until she like recanted and was like, well, woman is a vibe. And it's pretty gross that she herself backpedaled, that people pressured her to backpedal, and then like a journalist like walked her into backpedaling. Like, you have to give your penance, you have to do, like, it's a good thing you're educated now. So it's quite a clip. If you haven't seen it, you guys can go check out this article yourself and take the time and listen to that, if you're not familiar with it. There's no particular vibe, sorry, there's no particular virtue in being a woman. I have no say in that. When my father's gametes sperm met with my mother's gametes ova, I came into being. My sex was determined in the womb. I simply am what I am. Who I am is much more interesting. My relationships, the knowledge I acquire, the moral choices I make, my faith, my experiences forge who I am. So I'm certainly not reduced down to my sex organs, but my biology has deeply shaped my experiences, and it has in the lives of every other woman. It is so bizarre when trans women claim to experience periods, or when politicians pander to try to make a menstrual cycle anything other than a biological distinction for women. To be frank as possible, trigger warning, because this is Frank right here. Having a period feels like a xenomorph from Aliens is trying to impregnate me from the front of my vajayjay. I just said it in the article. You can read it, whatever, but and is trying to escape through my butthole. Granted, not all women experience the same symptoms, and they're not always so severe. But are you going to tell me that men can relate to what I've been experiencing every month for the past 22 years? How often have they purchased feminine products? Have they ever faced the embarrassment of bleeding through a pair of pants? And what about in other countries where girls miss out on school during their periods because they don't have access to feminine products and don't want to use tissue or old clothes to absorb the blood? I know, really gross. That's a part of our lives. And it's not just something that you can just, identify into. I mean, TMI, but men, oh my gosh. Last week I was in so much pain. It felt like someone drop kicked me in my spine and stabbed me in places. Anyway, when a man doesn't have a period, he doesn't experience the terror or the excitement of wondering if he's pregnant. If companies decided to ruthlessly enact the best policies for their bottom line and got rid of maternity leave, men might think, oh, that sucks. Women would see it as a personal attack on their careers and livelihoods because we are not the same. Men can start making families later in life without worrying about their fertility because we are not the same. High value men will go score themselves a young woman to make sure he has a woman fertile enough to bear them some heirs. We are not the same. When abortion restrictions are enacted, why do activists say they're trying to control women? Because we are not the same. I hear pro choice women emphatically say men have no say in abortion. um Go check out the merch at the store. When men say they feel like women, they have no idea how to validate that statement. They can relate to certain experiences, like worrying about how they'll put food on the table to feed their kid, but they'll never have to worry about why their baby isn't properly latching onto their nipple. The best they can do is make an estimated guess. If a man has thoughts and feelings that he thinks are like a woman, that doesn't make him a woman. It means that men are also capable of the same thoughts and feelings. Maybe you're an unusual man, but it doesn't qualify you as a woman. But there is also if the possibility he's absolutely wrong about his perception of how women think and feel. Gender is not a social construct. Sex and gender are meaningfully intertwined according to the etymology of the word. The two words have been and are used interchangeably, which we know that. A feminist can take the blame for morphing gender into a role in an attempt to break away from social restraints and undesired expectations, but a role is something you can either fill or play. Some aspects of womanhood cannot be mimicked, only stereotypes can be replicated. Trans women are method actors, and activists like Dylan Mulvaney deserve Razzies, not Oscars. I recently asked someone to define a woman. They said a social construct imposed on those with certain physical characteristics, but is not strictly connected to those physical characteristics. Not to mention, any attempt to define woman with any certainty would undoubtedly exclude a woman from the definition in some form. But let's talk about those physical characteristics. Women have a wider hip and pelvis so our babies can pass through. Women have mammary glands in their breasts so when we feed our infant child so we can feed our infant children. A woman's body is always preparing for pregnancy. That's why our uterine lining builds up, and if we're not pregnant, it sheds. That's why we have a menstrual cycle. Trans activists will bring up the fact that not all women can get pregnant, but it's in our inherent nature as women to do so. If we can't, then something is wrong with our bodies. For many women who suffer from infertility, this is a source of pain. Using it as a crowbar so trans women can break into our gender is emotionally criminal. Unlike the term sex and gender, men and women are not interchangeable. They are not interchangeable because women were designed to do what men can't. Trans women are men, and it shouldn't be controversial or even transphobic to say that. There's no shame in not being what you aren't, and there's no shame in being what you are. If you suffer from gender dysphoria, I have the utmost sympathy for your situation, but how you feel and the actions you take are different. If who you choose to be is someone who takes your perceptions and transforms them into the insistence of a falsehood demanding everyone buy buy into, that's where I have to push back. You may argue I'm just trying to use be accurate with my terminology. Cisgender is in the dictionary, so is the N word. But you wouldn't call me that to my face just because I'm black. You understand it's offensive and not your place to call me that. So, yes, this is a slur. It's a derogatory term meant to enforce a lie. So, that is the article. So, um, on the website, you can go ahead and share it around if you would like. So, yeah, I feel pretty strongly about it being a slur, because it's meant to demean women for the purpose of enforcing a falsehood, something that's absolutely not true. So, um, Elon, again, people are saying, "Oh, I thought you guys were free speech, and it's via, free speech, whatever." Well, obviously, they still have like different terms, so it's not a total free for all on Twitter or whatever. But the act of like you know, going in and just repeatedly saying stuff at people, that is harassing them. So if you say like before, if you had tweeted before Elon Musk bought Twitter that Elliot Page or is a woman, or Ellen Page is a woman, um then you might lose your account or something on Twitter. And they locked different people's accounts, etc. So in the case of what's going on now with Twitter, they don't do that obviously. But if you said, "Hey, Ellen Page is a woman," and you're having a conversation about that, that's not a harassment. You like adding her continuously going at Ellen Page or something. That's that's different. So that's the difference there. I don't know how they'll enforce it or how much it'll be enforced. Um, but it's kind of amazing to see people flip out about this. Um, anyway, let's move on. So Donald Trump had an interview with Brett, and it was interesting seeing some of the commentary surrounding it, because people are like, "Oh, Brett is just a mouthpiece for Murdoch, and they hate him and Trump," and And this is a some people are like, this is a setup so he could test, say stuff that they could use in Trump's trial. And it's like Trump could have always just not done the interview. Trump could have always just not talked about his legal stuff. As a, they're accusing him of like obstructing and moving boxes and stuff, and Trump's just like, yeah, they're in my boxes, so yeah, I moved them. Like, yeah, we moved them different places, like literally different locations, and yeah, they're my boxes. I got to go through. There might be golf shirts in the boxes with the bottle plants or whatever. So, which he didn't like talk about, at least from what I saw, specific things that might have been in the box as far as like the sensitivity of the records. He even like threw out there like, I don't know what's in the records now, because they could always say that something was in there that wasn't in there. So that's the route that he's going is, they are my records. I had the right to have them, and I needed to look through them because personal things were intermingled. But some of his behavior during that is really going to get him in trouble. But anyway, the what I want to talk about is they showed some more of the interview, and Trump was asked about why he calls Ron DeSantis sanctimonious, and Trump, ran on a little rant about loyalty. So I'm going to play that segment.
But other governors did a better job than Ron DeSanctimonious. So look,
why do you use that name?
Because I got him elected, and I thought it was very disloyal when he said yes, I'd run. I got him past 2 races. I got him past the primary because he was losing by 30 points or more.
So
he
it's
was
a loyalty question?
Yeah, it's a loyalty. I'm a big loyalist. Some people right here in this room have told me, sir, don't worry about loyalty. Loyalty doesn't mean anything in politics. I said, to me, it does. I got the guy elected. He came to see me, let's say weeping, because he was dead. He was getting out of the race. He was looking for jobs already, probably at law firms or wherever he's going to look. He was totally dead. He ran a horrible campaign. He was running against Adam Putnam, the agriculture commissioner, who was running for that position for 8 years. Yeah. Putnam had $38 million bank. Ron had nothing, zero. Putnam was at 40%. Ron was at 3%. It was like a wipeout. He ended up winning. By
so it makes you mad.
Tight race. And
makes you mad.
Then 3 years later, they say to him, then I didn't deal with it. I didn't know him that well. 3 years later, but I got him elected. But I did that with other people, too. But, just out of respect. So I said, 3 years later, they asked him, are you going to run against the president? He said, I have no comment. I said, no comment? No comment means he's going to run. I said, this guy's going to run. And he was dead as a doornail. He wasn't like, I didn't help him 90%. I helped him 100%. Some I do and some I help. But this guy was dead politically. And for him to then say, I'm going to run against the guy that got me into office, and I didn't need that because I took a lot of heat. I had a lot of friends that were on the other side of that one. I took big heat on that. It's not that easy to do.
Do you see him as the biggest threat?
Well, he's the number 2 right now, yeah. I mean, at some place he could be replaced. The way he's going right now, he's dropping like a rock. He could be number 3, number 4, and you won't ever hear me talking about him again. I like fighting number 2. If you're in a golf match and you got one guy that's close and other guys that aren't so close, but he's not close. I'm leading him by 45 or 50 points.
So I find his demeanor, I guess, talking about DeSantis in that situation, it's a lot more like cool as a cucumber, I guess. Like just matter of factly, yeah, he's number 2. Like, when he's not number 2, I'll attack number 2. But it is what it is. Why wouldn't I attack him? Because when you look at like all caps a post on Truth Social, and he's just ripping in, or they put out statements, and it's like, why are you doing this? And it's like, is he just really, do they have different numbers and they're concerned? And I've alleged that, and I've said that. I'm like, do they know like how they're going after? But maybe it's just like, no, maybe he's seeing the same polls we're all seeing, where Trump is, so far ahead of them all, including Ron DeSantis, because he's like above 50%. And he is just like, I'm not afraid. I'm just like annoyed with you, bro. and they should all just kind of get, maybe his attitude is like, they should all just kind of get in line, and they're not. So I'm going to punch whoever's number 2 right in the face and go from there. So his interview with Bret, with that portion of the conversation, does paint a different view from like when you're reading, again, the all caps, like because if when you're writing all caps, it just seems angry, I guess, and a little unhinged. So that perspective is interesting to have to see and to get that vibe from Trump. But I have to say, and I've said this quite a few times, I find the it's his turn approach with Trump to be so very unpersuasive, and the people who are like, well, he's just got to be loyal, and that's why he's trash. Talking about Ron DeSantis, I find that so unpersuasive for several different reasons, but the if people really feel like it's just Trump's turn and everybody else should get in line, like he was president, he had his reelection, people, he wasn't challenged or whatever, people were like, he did a good job, he deserved a second term, and people stomped for him and people supported him, and I voted for him, and you know it didn't go, election night did not go the way that we had hoped, right? Or maybe you're watching and you're lefty and like, yeah, it did. Thank you for watching another side speak, but I think most people who follow me were like, this is terrible. But he had his reelection, and so now it's an open primary. So yeah, it's everybody. People can challenge you whenever. It's usually a bad sign when people want to challenge you, but it's an open primary, so people can jump in and go. And people feel like Trump was robbed, and he deserves this, and it's his last shot because he's very old. And so I get that, but at the same time, if you have a rising star or some kind of opportunity in politics, you got to take it. So a lot of people talked about Ron because the pandemic and how Florida acted differently than other states like New York or California. So he got a lot of national attention, and he can continue to get national attention, and he gets a lot of national attention for a lot of battles that he puts out, and the media's kind of spin on it, and then him trying to like illuminate people to the truth. So he's got a big national profile right now. And if he doesn't run, and then he, terms out, and then he's not the governor for a little while, and then he runs, the steam could just be gone, right? And I don't think it's wise for him to wait, really. You can wait, and a lot of people want him to wait, and other people to wait, and they're like, well, Trump could do it now, and DeSantis could be it in 2028, and people are like, oh, he could be his VP, and then he can be the person in 2028. Which I think is an awful idea. If you think that they should just team up and Ron DeSantis should be his VP, I think that's kind of a waste of Ron DeSantis' time. But you don't know if it'll go right for him. Like if they'll be on good terms by the end of the 4 years. Like Mike Pence probably thought MAGA folks would not hate his guts by the end of the Trump administration, but and him and Trump and Pence are at odds. So there's no guarantee that if someone serves on the Trump administration that is going to be a net benefit in the end, to be frank. Because if you leave and you like, Trump will be like, they're great, they're fantastic, whatever. We talked a bit about this yesterday, but then you leave and you say something that's not aligned with what Trump likes or thinks or whatever, and then you were like an idiot, small brained. He called Kaylee, who's his press secretary, milk toast, and so he'll come at you. And like my dad asked me the other day, where I was talking about this with my dad, and I'm like, who's he gonna even bring in the White House? And my dad kind of smiled. He's like, you. And I'm like, that wouldn't work out. I'm like, nope. He's like, yeah, you could do it. You could do it. And I'm like, for what? If so I could do something he doesn't like, and then to turn around and just like trash me on Truth Social or something. Like I don't like, I think I could serve him well, but I don't think but serving well means being honest. And if I have to say something I'm not a yes man person, and I'm not saying everyone around him was a yes man person, but I don't know if it would have a good end, So if you look in some of my books, like maybe Super Kid and some stuff, there's in the back of the books and the autobiography part or whatever, it says that my dream was to win the Celebrity Apprentice and stuff. We'd hear that intro go on, and me and my sister, we start dancing, and you know, so it's something that I thought I wanted, but now I'm just like, I don't think it would have maybe turned out great. So DeSantis being his VP, it's too big of a gamble. If he feels that his time is to run now, they just got to kind of run now. And then there's all this indictment stuff. You don't know how Trump's legal stuff is all going to go down. So, you take your shot, and a lot of people run multiple times before they even get to where they want. They build their war chest, they build their national, name ID, etc. There's reasons to run besides believing that you're actually going to win. And I get that. I do think in most cases that you should run if you have a good shot. Like, I think there's some other people running right now that are just like, dude, you're wasting time. I don't think obviously Mike Pence is going to get the nomination. I don't think Nikki Haley's going to get the nomination. I don't think I enjoy Tim Scott having the sort of conversations he's having, like when he went on The View, and I think I would say maybe humbled, but maybe they have too big egos to be humbled, but just did a really great rebuttal to the ladies on The View. But I don't think he's going to get anywhere. Will any of these people perhaps be a good VP pick, or are they auditioning for that or for some other thing? Perhaps. But I think at how it looks right now, Trump is going to be the nominee, or if it's not him, then it's going to be DeSantis. I know Christie is picking up some steam in some places, but he's that's not going anywhere. I think his vanity run is ridiculous. That's the one I'm really like roll my eyes at. But here's the thing. People liked Trump because they said that he wasn't beholden to anyone. They're like, oh, he doesn't need anyone else's money, so he doesn't need anything to do anything because the donors told him. And they liked that he seemed to be like a free agent that was really just going to be working to empower the forgotten man, for the American people, that that no one else is influencing him, and he's just going to be working for you. That was a big part of his pitch, a big part of his appeal, not the only thing, but that was a really big appeal for Trump, right? So and now it's like, I endorsed you. How dare you not be under my thumb? So it's like, so people liked Trump because he was the guy whose strings couldn't be pulled, but Trump is the guy who wants to pull the strings. So you guys like that? Is that okay? Like, if you're the kind of person that's like, it's not right for these people to have people in their pockets, are you okay that Trump is trying to put people in his pocket? I guess is what I'm saying. And I don't like it's his turn vibe. It gives me Hillary Clinton feels. So I mean, I think the best person who can win should be the nominee. That's what I think. And they'll have to make their case. I think there's some really troubling things as far as Trump being able to win a general. We talked about his unfavorability with like independents and stuff, and that's going to be a big issue for Trump to get over and to climb that hill. And if you can't see a path forward for someone to actually win the general, I'm like, I really, really hope that people will not vote for that person. And maybe Trump can make that case and switch some hearts and minds. But if somebody looks like they cannot win the general, there's no point in voting them through the primary. Because you can't do anything with power and wield it if you don't have it, if you can't win, if you can't earn it. But something that it also bugs me that Trump will say stuff like he endorsed somebody and now they're trash, or they were always trash. And it's like, well, why did you endorse them if they were bad, or compliment them if they were bad? Or I think there was an Iowa governor, and you start ripping on him, and he's like, and he doesn't like Indians. And it's like, why'd you vote for racist if that's how you felt? Or it doesn't, it calls your judgment into question. So I'm like, I don't think these are great attacks. And I've talked at a lot about other attacks that I feel are a better route for Trump to go. And I don't want to keep beating the same drum, but Trump's like war room or whatever made this ad. They're airing this ad, and DeSantis's war room was like, "You guys are embarrassing yourself," and so they retweeted it and they posted a video of Trump just complimenting Ron DeSantis repeatedly. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the Trump ad, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play the DeSantis war room thing.
Governor Ron DeSantis shut down Florida businesses during COVID, drove away tourism, and used a mandate to keep Floridians from leaving their homes.
Governor Ron DeSantis issues a wide-reaching mandate.
The party's over in Florida.
He wants you to forget, but Floridians remember.
We can't stand another 3 months being shut down.
Please, Governor, open us up.
To actually shut us down just made no sense.
We did it for the bars and closed the bars down.
Lockdown Ron. He failed Florida. Don't let him fail America.
Now, yeah, they locked down for a little while, but it wasn't long, especially compared to other places. And Trump at a time was like tweeting liberate Michigan and liberate other places, also was like, hey, you're told other like states in the South they're opening too fast. So Trump was in a very complicated situation in 2020 because obviously he had his election coming up and great economy, all this stuff, and his advisor was like, hey, millions of people are going to die if we don't do X, Y, and Z. And he's not an expert, and he's had to decide, am I going to listen to these people and do this and risk everything that I have? And hindsight is 2020. You know, I don't begrudge him for, I guess, shutting down for a little while. Going as long as it did, I think that was a mistake, but I know they like other states could decide that. He left it to the states to decide, but people did like cite like governmental stuff to kind of be like, this is why our schools are closed and et cetera, blah, blah, blah. So, he definitely did like encourage, you know, to keep things locked down and stuff for a minute. So this rewriting of history to paint DeSantis like he's the bad guy in the COVID situation, and then paint himself like he doesn't regret the lockdown. So he's like, Ron locked down. I don't regret the lockdowns. And Ron did a bad job because he's locking down. So this pack is like doing this ad with DeSantis, you know, he locked down, he did this to Florida, blah, blah, blah. Yet he's saying Cuomo did a better job than DeSantis, but New York was really shut down. So is it a bad thing to be locked down or not? So you got to kind of pick a lane and stay in it, because there's a really big inconsistency here. And so it's frustrating for a lot of reasons, because it is so likely, it perhaps inevitable, that he will be the nominee. So what's with these early sort of blunders as far as the ads go? You know, Trump is way ahead. So I don't think these ads will maybe make or break or whatever. But to me, it shows like an incompetence problem with some of his staffers or whoever's making these decisions. Because I don't think Trump is cutting ads in the back room or something. In the end. So what's going to happen when you got to push stuff in the general, and this is kind of the best that you got? Now, there's a lot of stuff to sling at Biden, to use at Biden, but I just don't think there's being smart. There's not a lot of smart decisions being done here. So anyway, Ron DeSantis' war room on Twitter or whatever was tweeted at them like, you guys are embarrassing yourselves. And then they tweeted out this clip, which I'm pretty sure they just made before, but they just re-upped it.
We're in a place called Florida, and we have a great governor. Ron DeSantis has done a spectacular job in Florida.
Terrific job. He just announced that the schools will be open in the fall.
Enjoys very high popularity, and that's for a reason. The reason is he's doing a good job.
And you're open, and you didn't close, and it's just amazing, right? It's great.
A lot of people agree with what he's done.
You guys aren't even open yet. What the hell is going on with your state? You know, Florida's open. Florida's open. Florida's open. Governor Ron DeSantis doing a fantastic job. If you look at Florida, if you look at South Carolina, if you look at so many different places that have opened up, I don't want to name all of them, but the ones that are most energetic about opening, they are doing tremendous business. Ron DeSantis of Florida, the governor, doing a fantastic job in Florida. Great governor, knows exactly what he's doing. Look at what's going on in Florida. It's incredible. The job the governor of Florida has done, it's incredible. The numbers they're doing. A governor like Ron DeSantis of Florida is doing a great job.
I think their outro is pretty neat, but I don't know, part of me is just like, I know it's Florida and there's an alligator, but it's just like alligators. But um I don't know if alligator kind of being the national thing going forward to win a national appeal is like the thing. I don't know. To me, it's just I think about weird stories that you hear in the press about Florida, I guess the Florida man and the alligators and stuff. It's I don't know. I would probably get a different kind of symbol. But anyway, yeah, they did a great job just showing that Trump complimented Ron DeSantis repeatedly, talked about Florida being open. So this rewriting of history is it's just not going to work. Someone in the comments said that I should just give Trump my honest opinion. And while I was there, if they brought me on or something like that, I really don't think that will happen. But yeah, I only give my honest opinion to you guys, to everybody else, whether people like it, receive it, or whatnot. So I don't like that ad that Trump did. I don't think it's wise on their part, and frankly, I just really don't feel like how they're trying to reframe everything is honest. And I didn't like some of the attacks they did against Kathy Barnett. Like, I wrote an article about that at the time when she was running against Dr. Oz, because they wanted Dr. Oz to be the person, even though he didn't live in the state, so that he's a carpetbagger. But they put everything in on there. So I think they can do better. But I think this is a terrible line of attack. But going at DeSantis because he's number 2, I get it. I understand. Though I kind of think that he should just kind of run past them as if they're all kind of irrelevant. But to attack the number 2, I get it. But the whole, like, I endorse him and now he's running against me. I saved his career. I'm the reason why he's the governor, but also he's trash and other governors did a better job. Even the disgraced one that had to resign in New York. It's just not a great line of thinking. It's not a great strategy. Do I think that it's in the end going to hurt him as far as getting the nomination? He's way ahead. So I don't know. I think Ron, it's not so much that maybe Trump can ruin his chances. I think DeSantis is just going to have to somehow break through and make a good case for himself. I don't know if there's something that Trump can do personally to break up like the monopoly that he has on the Republican base. I don't know if there's a wrong ad he can run, that there's someone he can insult that'll offend people. I don't know if anything will come out in these indictments. I don't know if there's anything specifically that Trump can do to break that. I think if anyone wants to break that and get Trump under 50% and to the point where he can't win, I think that's something that the candidates will have to do. And in the case of DeSantis, he's going to have to make the case that he's the only one who can win or something. So, and I don't know how well he can make that case because so many people who are going to support Trump don't believe that he even lost before. So, again, it's looking kind of inevitable. Well, we don't know what will happen. It's still early in the season. But before moving on, interesting theories about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden coming out. I saw some people theorizing that the cushy Hunter Biden plea, which there might not be any other things that they're going to charge him for, which I think makes sense because I'm cynical and I'm not waiting for any justice to be done. But there's a lot of different allegations with him and his dad and the bribes and using his status to gain power, etc. I don't know what all things could be done that are illegal or whatever, but there's obviously a lot of corruption involved. And you can go through Hunter's laptop and read how their finances were intertwined and Hunter was paying his bills and they shared accounts. Joe Biden accidentally paid for one of his hookers or something one time. So they're very intertwined and within each other's business. So it's Joe Biden is like, I don't know anything about my son's like those are just lies. But everything on that front as far as that investigation, it's probably not going to go anywhere. And the best that's probably going to happen is these misdemeanors or whatever with his taxes, which I'm seeing people there was a rapper who was upset. I forget which rapper it was, but they had basically did something similar, and his lawyers were complaining because they're like, this is a different set of justice. And it was Kodak Black. His lawyer slammed Hunter's plea deal after rapper got 3 years for the same crime. So people see that there's a difference with people being treated. Now the media is spinning it all sorts of different ways. Like Jack Tapper was Ben, if you go watch Ben shows today that he put out, he talked quite a bit about this. If you watch like the whole thing or just go find the segment when they post just a segment talking about the Hunter Biden situation and the media and their spin on it. And Jake Tapper's like, if you think this is unfair or whatever, just you should try looking at how they treat poor people. It's like poor drug addicts, like the sort of folks Biden wanted to lock away or to help to lock away, So yeah, it sucks how they treat people who don't have that kind of privilege. I was over at my parents' house yesterday and I was leaving out there watching Fox News talking about the story. And my mom was like, I don't know if you can talk about this or not. And so I'm like bracing myself because I don't know what she means, but she knew I just got, in trouble for the pro-life thing. So I didn't know where the conversation was going. And she's pointing to the TV and she's like, this is white rich privilege. And I just got to start laughing. I'm like, yeah, and it's not white privilege. But the rich thing is important for sure. But it's not just rich though. It's the association and the corruption with Joe Biden himself. But perhaps there's theories that this plea deal or whatever going on with Hunter Biden is just kind of like the thing, an agreement or whatever for Biden not to run. Now, I just kind of saw one person theorizing. I'm like, well, that's interesting, an interesting theory. I don't think they want Biden to be the nominee. I think they don't mind if it's a Trump Biden rematch, but if it's anyone else, I think that they would probably think that's going to be a big trouble. And I obviously think Gavin Newsom really wants to run. I don't think he wants to run in 2028. I think he wants to run in 2024. I'm seeing articles about Gretchen Whitmer and people uplifting her. I think she'd be better for them than Gavin Newsom or whatever. But I think someone else is waiting in the wings to run. I do. I'm not confident that Biden will be their nominee. Maybe he will be, but I think more people are concerned about his kind of state of being, and are uncomfortable with the corruption. The media can talk about it, but people who've gone to jail for stuff, and then you're going to go out and be strict on guns, and that's a huge platform and things that you're running on, and your son's gun crime can basically perhaps fall off of his record entirely. Then he could go get another because if this felony, just kind of falls off after he goes through some kind of drug program or whatever, he's going to have the ability to get another one because it won't be on his record. So we just live in a crazy world. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not confident that Biden will be the nominee. I don't know if there's some kind of hush hush kind of agreement somewhere like, yeah, I won't end up running. I'll step down or whatever and decide not to run. I don't know if that's actually been done or said or whatever. But people have to be watching this. And even though they may cover and say all kinds of things on MSNBC, in their minds, they have to be like, this is really messy. And we don't need to have someone really messy. It's possible we can have someone messy at the same time as Republicans have someone messy, but we'd rather just have them have the messy person. And if they get rid of their messy person and we just have our messy person, then that's really going to put us in a bind. So all these are just really evolving stories. Speaking of a evolving story, in Michigan, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which I don't have a lot of time to go through this, but the air quality is very bad in Kalamazoo, Michigan because of a plant. So, well, I guess two plants. So, MLive is reporting this. Air pollution levels in Kalamazoo neighborhood are hazardous, state finds. Kalamazoo, Michigan, the concentration of toxic gas found around a Kalamazoo neighborhood is a public health hazard, according to a long-awaited report from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The report was released on Monday, May 8th, after nearly 3 years of analysis. When did they put this out? And this is a couple months ago too. The report was released on Monday, May 8th, after nearly 3 years of analysis. Level of hydrogen sulfide found on the north side of Kalamazoo near the Graphic Packaging International paper mill and the Kalamazoo wastewater plant were analyzed, the report says. The Environmental Protection Agency says hydrogen sulfide levels are above 1.4 parts per billion, can cause health problems with long-term exposure. Sensors near two properties east of the Pitcher Street and north of North Edward Street showed concentrations regularly above 1.4 parts per billion from September 2019 to December 2021. Hydrogen sulfide was measured at levels of chronic exposure concern, meaning long-term exposure at the level where measuring will lead to persistent nasal irritation in some individuals. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, toxicology and assessment section manager Marcus Wozlovec told MLive Kalamazoo Gazette about the report. State officials said sensors can pick up other compounds, but their analysis concludes the readings are attributable to hydrogen sulfide, an offensive smelling colorless toxic gas. So people, if you're there like briefly, they don't think that's a big deal, I guess, but if you're there a lot, there's a chronic risk for you. So I haven't heard people really talking about this. Again, this, is a little old, so maybe I missed it at the time, but again, my sister sent this to me. She's like, I'm not hearing any Michigan peeps talk about it. And someone who happened to be in Kalamazoo was like, this is the first time hearing about it, and I'm in Kalamazoo. So this is concerning. So I just wanted to, I know there's other people who follow me from Michigan who are in the same state that I am, so I just wanted to draw attention to it in case nobody else really knew about it. So I'm sorry that I missed that. But keep your kids safe out there. Keep your kids safe. My sister's on. It's the first time she's hearing about it too. That's not the sister who tipped me off, but yeah. Just want to let you know. So that's reports on MLive. You guys can go ahead and read the rest of it. So, people at risk of having different breathing issues, including like asthma. So, there's like a water waste plant and like a water management plant and a paper mill out there that are both contributing to the toxic air pollution. So, if it's happening there, I'm sure there's happening in other places as well. So if you live near mills and you notice something about your air quality, I'd reckon that you try to get with someone to, petition your government to check out the air quality, because you never know what they're doing. And a lot of times when people speak up, it's really too late and there's a lot of damage that's been done, like the Flint situation. So we don't want to see people hurt, especially our children. So I want to put that out there. Since we are over on time, I'm not going to go through the but I want to. We can table it until I guess tomorrow, this Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson situation. So we'll table that. Her saying the election just broke her. Well, she said that, but Samuel L. Jackson is the one who's telling the story. So Bounding in the Comments is reporting that. So to be fair, if you can't wait, you guys can go read about that. But I will definitely have commentary. So we'll table that and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining me. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. Please drop in your email address on the website so you know you can get updates on different videos or events or whatever that we're doing. So if social media tries to karate chop us and sever our connection, we can still have a way to speak with one another and connect. So you guys can go to the website to check out that article that I wrote about cisgender as a slur and other articles that I have. If you like, to what we do here and you want to support, you can go to blacktnews.com/donate and support in that kind of way. Whether it's a gift of $10 or $20 or more. God bless you if you can do more. If you can't, I understand. But I thank you guys for commenting, for watching live, for people who go ahead and watch it back on the playback. It's very much appreciated. And you guys can also support by checking out different merch that we have at the store. Get this cool Frederick Douglass shirt. It's almost 4th of July. It'll be a cool shirt to wear on 4th of July. It's definitely what I will be wearing it. I will definitely wear it. And if I see you in person and we're wearing the same shirt, I will not be embarrassed. I will think it's cool. So go ahead and pick up, the shirt. I think there's still enough time to make the date I'm with the shipping. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it. You'll find out when you put in the order. But anyway, yeah, it's getting kind of late in June. We're rolling through this month. My baby sister's on. Her birthday's on Saturday. My birthday was on the 10th. Hers is on the 24th. So her birthday is on the date of the anniversary of Roe v. Wade being overturned. And I do want to apologize. I was going to have another interview with a friend of mine who had an abortion, who had a horrific abortion, and she's actually been on the show before, and we talked about her story. But I wanted to wait until my strike won't be off till September, but I wanted to wait until I was back streaming on my main account. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try another interview on this topic, and maybe I'll be a little more careful with my wording or something, with my titles or something. But we're gonna do it right now, planning to do it this upcoming Tuesday in the evening. So we will continue to have that conversation. And it sucks with what YouTube was doing and that they have that policy, but we're going to keep having the conversation. I appreciate not just the videos that I do, but a lot of the posts that I do regarding the pro-life, content. People really appreciate and have liked a lot of my arguments and stuff. So I'm going to keep pushing and, having the conversation. And I will not be silenced. So thank you guys for your support, and make sure that you guys check out my book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion, is available on Amazon and also on Barnes and Noble. So you guys can pick that up today. And I have a lot of different books that I have out as well. I have 2 nonfiction books, which this would be one of them, and the rest are fiction. I have, let me see if I have my picture pulled up with all my books. I don't think I have my new one in here. But I have my picture with my 15 books. So I have 17 now, but if you go to Black Tea News and hit the merchandise page, there's a button there's a banner at the top with my books on. I'll take you to my book website, but you can't just look for me, Christina L. Barr, on Amazon, and check out all my stuff. God bless you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.